and he was bouncing all over the place too. You just got to be careful with the late model. You got to be careful with anything you drive, really. The only thing you're really safe with maybe is a tank street stock.
I heard the street stocks were looking pretty good out there, even on the rough track. But so next weekend,
oh yeah, those things work all right.
Yeah, you're going to start racing this weekend at Cottage Grove.
Correct.
In your late model.
Correct. Yes.
This is the brand.
No race in Lebanon, which is where we want to go, but
no late models this weekend. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it is. Actually, things are looking pretty good. Of all the tracks we have here on the I-5 corridor there, Cottage Grove, I'd say, probably has the best chance to race this weekend.
Yeah, and I like going to Cottage Grove. I don't really get the chance to race there as much as I used to when I was traveling more with the crates and when I was running big motor stuff when I was younger. But I like going to Cottage Grove, and they've done a really good job with that track the last couple of years, getting people in there and getting the car count up. So
Heather's done a great job down there.
Yeah,
so
I enjoy that track.
This new X Factor you have, the 2017 edition of it, what's different on this car? And you haven't had a chance to really even get in this thing and do anything, have you?
No. Well, I'm not doing the new car yet, but we did do some updates on my car for my old car for this year and to get us by for the year until I get in my new car for next year. But the new car, it's going to be a lot different than mine, with different shock mounts, different 4-bar packages, different front end, and some different stuff. Me and Mike have been talking about doing these things for a while, kind of after all the time I've driven these late models for, it's kind of some ideas I had, mixing with some ideas he had, and some ideas that Steve Moore has, because Steve and I are really, really good friends, and we race the same cars now.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, I'm excited. My new car next year is going to look quite a bit different than my car I have right now.
Okay, as far as the construction of the chassis itself.
As far as everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So you
yeah,
got to be
way
pretty
cool.
pumped up about that. Anything out of town this year for Joey Tanner? Anything out of
Yeah, I'm definitely going to Bakersfield this year.
Right on.
I'm definitely going to the Bud Nationals because I wanted to go last year. Just things didn't work out. We had problems the last race. Broke a rack. Had a 604 crate motor. I know you guys tried to push me to go there with the crate motor because I did so well in one last year, but I wasn't too hot on it. But no, with this 525 deal, I feel it's a really good change of pace for us, and it's definitely going to keep the cost down with racing with the pump gas and and the maintenance. So I'm right now the schedule for Willamette's kind of full for late models other than August. There's no out-of-town racing in August, really, so I'm just going to stick to racing here in Lebanon, Cottage Grove, and maybe some at Banks, and then definitely go to Bakersfield at the end of the year, though.
Very
right
cool.
on. Well, you've just warned all of Southern California you're coming.
That's
so.
right. He's bringing the 525.
That's right.
This 525 engine is really raising some eyebrows given what Colin and Brian Cronk did. Colin Weinbarger, Brian Cronk, very, very competitive with those 525s against the open motors. Joey Tanner, who has proven he can win with the 604 against the big motors. I think in racing right now, the 525 is definitely the most bang for your buck, and it's a dependable motor.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Me and my dad have been wanting to do the 525 thing for a couple of years now. It's just haven't really had the capability to do it because we've had our big motor, and we've been wanting to try to get that fixed up, but last year was the end of that. There were no more big motor for the 111. So the 525, yeah, I mean it's a bulletproof motor, just like the 604s. I talk to Brian and Colin every day, and it's a very economical way to race at a high competitive level. And for us here, it just seems like the way to go. And Jerry's got one too for his late model.
I think for anybody
I think Jerry's wanting to push that towards the late models as a 525 thing and keep the cost down for the racers, and it just makes it a little more competitive.
I mean, I am a fan of the 525 as far as dependability and, like you said, keeping the cost down. But then I think something you just mentioned, if a track owner, like you said, Jerry, decides to make it a crate track or a 525 track, I think you're going to lose some of your cars because there are guys out there that just won't put a 525 or a 604 in their car.
They want that open. Can't blame them. I love the Open.
I mean, those guys have a lot of money. So
right, and that's the argument there.
I mean, it's all in racing nowadays. It's all about money. Money will buy you the best stuff, and with the motor, that's why they have the different weight rules and the spoilers. It kind of equalizes it. I mean, I would rather have 850 horsepower myself. I mean, I would rather have just a ground pounding motor, just eat it and just go, than a 525 or a 604. But I mean, you gotta what it boils down to is it's not about picking and choosing drivers to please or to not please other drivers or to try to make it a crate track. It's just trying to equalize the racing in general.
Sure. Yeah, I understand that.
Make it more competitive at each level. So I mean, there's pros and cons. I've heard it all. I've heard it left and right about the 525 is getting a 10-inch spoiler, and the 525 is getting a 50-pound brake, or the 604 is getting a 12-inch spoiler and a 100-pound brake. As far as I'm concerned, I think it's equal because 300 horsepower and 200 pounds of torque upgrade. I mean, you can't really calculate that into a race car.
Right.
But the other argument is, with as competitive as the 525s are, why should they get a break? I mean, they've already proven they can beat the big motors. So, I mean, that's the argument you're going to get from the guys. Go ahead.
That also draws the argument is that Colin and Brian Cronk are great race car drivers, and they can win in anything. So, I mean, in all reality, is if they had a big motor 525 or crate, they would win. I mean, and they could win. I mean, in all reality, it just happens to be that they were doing so well in the last year, and for Colin, the last 2 years with the 525, that's drawing it up. But in all reality, those guys are just good drivers.
Yeah.
And,
so here's my next question to you.
So you got to use that.
What's the argument when it comes to the 604 with Joey Tanner winning 3 races against other motors? What's the argument there?
I don't know what the argument is because I had to run a 6400 chip too. That sucked.
But do you see where that argument's going to go? You see where that argument's going to? Yeah, I mean, I know you do.
Yeah. When it's slick, when the track's slick, you don't need power. I mean,
exactly.
It's all about being smooth and just keeping the car on the bars and going. I mean, and that comes down with throttle control and everything. Last year we had good success with the crate motor, but I drove that thing really, really hard. I gave it everything it had.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, you did.
Anybody could have won it, and I gave it everything it had. So
absolutely.
Well, you always put on a good show, Joey.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, you mentioned your dad there. Can you speak for him? What's he got going on this year? Do you know?
Oh, he's got a street stock, and he's got a race super sports. He has his Victory Circle he bought 2 years ago from Jimmy Schramm, and he took last year off with it, but it's over at Steve's getting a body on it right now.
Nice.
And,
well, that's cool.
He's going to do some super sport racing.
That's going to be fun.
He'll have some fun
right
in those cars.
On.
Very cool. Right on. So, Joey,
he wanted to race late models, but I kind of convinced him to doing the super sport gig just because, we don't want to. It's just kind of hard to try to help with 2 cars that race in the same class. This way, I can still help him out, and I'll have time because we're in 2 separate races.
Right.
So what he really just said was he didn't want to get beat by the old man.
Yeah.
That's what he just said.
Or helping.
I don't know about that.
That's awesome. Joey, I want to say thanks for calling in, man. We got a couple more calls to get to, and we're going to talk with Jeff Hansen, who just showed up, about the Brooks Shaw Driving School. Get some more information on that. Again, thanks for listening every week, man. We appreciate you, and best of luck in 2017, and good luck this weekend.
Can't wait to see you, Joey.
Awesome.
All right, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
have a
bud.
good night.
You too.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good conversation. It's always a good call with Joey.
Yes.
Jeff Hansen pops in the studio here, and I think he kind of gave me the look like, how come we didn't change that commercial? We didn't get a chance.
Not at all.
No, we didn't get a chance to change it. We did talk about it, though. It has been, now the driving school has been changed to June 8th and 9th.
Yes, sir. June 8th and 9th.
What and why?
Because of weather.
Because of weather.
Imagine that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we were concerned the whole time. We were concerned about it the whole time. Kevin texted me yesterday, and he said, man, it doesn't look good for next weekend. We don't have a lot of people signing up. We got people talking about it, but they're concerned about weather as well.
Sure.
let's go ahead and move this. And
Well, something like that, you got to pretty much have a guarantee on some
This
decent
is
weather.
the Northwest.
Because, yeah, I mean, if I was going to
But I
schedule
think-
that, I'd put it out in the middle of summer or something.
I think
you
it's
know?
a better move anyway because they're going to get more information on how to get better on a dry slick track.
exactly,
You know,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just
That's a good
makes you
point.
that makes your program that much better. So was it hard to do? Did they have to jumble some things around with their schedule on their end? And what did you guys have to do on your end to get that date changed?
Kevin was pretty good. He said that either that weekend or the weekend following was good. The 2 weeks after, the 8th and 9th, is when Speed Week starts. And I'm kind of thinking, this is probably not so good.
Yeah.
We're right on top of Speed Week.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's pull it back 1 week.
Sure.
It worked out for them. The hotel was awesome. Phoenix Inn, can't say enough about them, making sure that it was easy to change and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
So everything's good, and we're moving forward.
Well, we
Awesome.
hope that it works out for all the drivers, too.
So it's $100 to register.
For a deposit, yes, sir.
For a $100 deposit. Now the cost if you're going to bring a car is $1,000.
For $1,000 if you're bringing your car.
If you're going to be a crew guy that goes to the class and the racetrack, it's $400.
That is correct.
And there's no charge for a pit guy that comes to the track but doesn't go to the classroom portion.
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Now,
Yep.
racer rate at Phoenix Inn for this deal, do they get a special rate?
$89.
Not bad. That's actually
That's a pretty good
Exactly.
rate.
And when you call and talk to them, you ask for the Brickshaw special.
Okay.
And they've got some rooms blocked out for us
very
for that
cool.
event.
Good.
So we're good to go there.
Awesome. That's good. So we just didn't get a chance to get in there and change that commercial, but we'll get that done. And man, that's good though. I think that's a better. I think it's a better thing for the racer to have
Yeah.
a school push back because number one, you're going to get more cars, and people are going to get a little more information on making the cars better on dry sled.
And they'll be set up going into Speed Weeks.
And that's another
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
advantage to that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a whole week of trying the stuff you've learned.
Sure.
So
That's a
good.
huge
At least for the
benefit.
modified guys, the street stock guys, and the late model guys, they'll have to just run their
Sure.
weekly programs. But and it
yeah.
is geared. That's the other part about this is that it might be Brookshaw, and they may be known for modified specifically, but it really is for all classes. The street stocks, the late models, the super sport guys. You know, no dwarfs or sprint cars, unfortunately.
Right,
But
right.
you know, the regular full body type cars.
There's a lot
they're
of
good for.
guys that go to that, and those guys have got they've forgotten more about race cars than we'll probably ever know.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
Kevin has grown up in that industry his entire life. I mean, his
Absolutely,
dad, along with C.J. Rayburn, are, if you want to call them, the founders of dirt late model racing. I mean, you could almost say that
Well,
because
you got to remember Barry Wright back there as well.
Right.
and some
Oh,
of those
wow.
guys As well. So,
But those three guys, and those early chassis manufacturers have.
Yeah.
I mean, they made this sport.
Ray Callahan
At Bullitt.
Bullitt,
Yep,
exactly.
absolutely. I mean, those guys really developed. They're the forefathers of, what we're doing today, and you're seeing a lot of manufacturers pop up using the knowledge they've learned from them and building on it to make these cars. I mean, they're getting faster and faster all the time. It's crazy. So, gotcha. Okay, so
That's a big 5522 from our producer.
she's always looking out for us. So she says, "Tell Jeff to hold that mic closer."
Sorry, Sandy.
Awesome. So, man, what brought you by tonight?
A buddy of mine was up from California and went over and had dinner with him for his birthday over here, and was in the neighborhood and thought, I'm going to sneak in and see what they're doing.
See, that's what's cool about having this. You guys, any racer, I don't care who you are, where you're at, you want to stop in the studio and hang out with us, sit down, grab a mic, and we'll talk racing.
Heck yeah.
It's a cool deal.
But we're getting kind of
We
short
are.
on our
So
time
real
here, so
quick-
we probably
real
should
quick,
have.
Have you guys been to the racetrack this week?
Yes.
No.
Not this week. I was
He
there
has.
Saturday.
I was there on yesterday
Okay.
looking for Jerry. Just got off work and thought I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to swing by and see if I can catch him and find out if we can change the date. They poured a new scale pad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did
They
hear
did
this.
that Saturday.
That's nice.
Which
Yeah.
is,
Sounds like Dan was involved with that. Dan
Yep.
Diebel.
Yep.
It's super nice flat surface where the scale's going to be, and then a roll off area out in front so they can do some inspection.
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
impressed.
Yeah.
Things are looking good out there. So
I am glad to hear that because that's definitely going to keep that scale more consistent.
Yep.
You start getting those big rocks down there, and things start getting screwed up. And,
Oh,
I mean, it's just I think that's a good call. That'll be a
Yeah.
good deal. So, and what else is going on? Anything new?
hoping that the weather's going to hold so we can go racing Saturday.
Man, we all are. But you guys are you looking more towards Cottage Grove, or are you going to be Willamette?
A mods
Okay.
this week are not at
Well, that's
Cottage
right.
Grove.
That's right.
So,
You're going to focus on the mod.
Yeah, Lebanon's going to be our.
1,000 to win.
I heard that. I saw that. That'd be
That's
pretty cool.
Pretty dang good way to draw the cars
So
opening
in
week.
a 1,000 to win show, if I remember right, that gets you as a qualifier to get into the Fast Shaft All Stars Invitational race. They do it at Boone.
But you got to win that.
You have to win 1,000 to win show or better, and then it goes on to a